beans, y'all. Let's get it.
Put your hands together. Put your hands together.
Welcome to Calling All Beings Dean episode. We have the awesome DJ backstage, the awesome Terry, Boozy Beauty. I guess I'm the one that's a little boozed. And the beautiful SD. And now for my Spanish-speaking crowd. Hola, me llamo Beatriz, presentando el programa de Llamando a Todos los Seres. So, without further ado, let's bring up DJ.
Hey. What's going on?
Well, wait.
Job.
Can I get an amen?
Amen for calling all beings of my homie right there, Beatriz, the host of this joint. All right. Who's next?
All right, let's bring up Terry.
All right, let's do it. There she goes.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, what happened to my applause? It faded out. There she goes. Good evening, Terry. Right here. All right. All right, who do we got next?
All right, we have Boozy Beauty.
There we go. Now we talking.
And up next, hold on.
Go ahead, get it. You can get
All
it
right,
in right now.
let's bring up the beautiful SD.
Woo! My Dean home girls. Woo!
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you guys. All right. We just want to say hello to everybody in the chat before we kick this thing off and kind of give the rules of engagement here. So let's see. We got Sherry D is here. I got an amen from Sherry D. What's up? Tima is in the house. Hello.
Timo.
Who's this? Dragonfly. What's going on, homie?
Ooh, that's a new one.
I know. Yeah, I haven't seen Dragonfly.
I like that.
Reality check is in the building. Annette, what's going on, homegirl?
Love you.
We love you. Deborah Holmes. And to Deborah, there's only one thing we can say. What's up, Holmes? Like that. Everybody. They're like, DJ, shut up. All right. Who else we got? All right. So Kevin. Hi, Kevin C. Welcome or welcome back if you've been here before.
Hi, Kevin.
Oh, and this is where Judge Bev does all the rulings, right? Not in open court, inside bar. So, Marjorie, I know I've seen you here before. Good evening. And Melanie, she's a member. Good evening. By the way, we're doing the member roundtable. Will be the week after next. Next week is my bald-headed brother Jason Broyles. And then we're going to have the member/listener roundtable. If somebody wants in it, we'll see if we can get you in it. I know Miss Jessica going to be in here. Be kinder than necessary. Isn't that right, Terry? Right?
Absolutely.
I love that.
Me too. There's so many creative ones. I love Sua Sponte, who's always in the chat with with Melanie Little, the greatest content creator of them all. All right. And he said, I'm literally in tears seeing my two besties up there. I've missed seeing their faces so much. Yeah, I second that motion, Your Honor. And this lady right here, big ups for Please Pass the Pepper, because she's supporting so many of us in all as content creators. So thank you. Thank you so much. All right, let me turn it over.
Doing well. Pass the pepper. Sorry.
Who, doggies?
Her
What?
doggy was having surgery.
Oh, man. Yeah, please, one love to the doggies. We're very pet friendly here. We've been have the FKR Cat Club led by Meredith O'Neill. So, all right, I got to turn it over to my homegirl right now, the host of this joint, Beatriz. Flex
All
up,
right.
Beatriz.
Beautiful.
There you go.
So, all right. So we're going to get started. So we're going to go around in a circle. So we'll start with Terry. I keep messing up your name. Boozy
Boozy.
Beauty,
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Esty,
Ooh.
and DJ.
Boozy.
I know.
Hi, dog.
All right. Starting with Terry. So tell us about your experience at Dean.
Okay. I was on the board of trustees at Dean for 29 years. I started in 1994 and I retired about a year ago. And I don't know if many of you know what the role of a board of trustee person is, but our duties are to preserve the college's mission. That's our number one duty. We have financial responsibility, setting the budget. We don't manage the college. We hire a president and leave it to the president to run the college. We serve as a bridge to the community. We evaluate the performance of the president. We have the fiduciary responsibility for the college, for the investments, the endowment, and a big part of the role of a trustee is fundraising. So that's what I've been doing for 29 years. When I reached the age of 80, I told them I wanted to retire because I had other things to do. So they asked me to stay on another year, and I did. And at that point, I got involved in the Karen Reed movement. And so I said I really had to leave Dean then because I just couldn't do both things at the same time, the time commitment. And I felt 29 years, it was time for someone else to take over. But it was a wonderful experience, wonderful 29 years. We had the best board of trustees, magnificent people. And for 29 years, it was a pleasure to serve there.
Nice.
And can I just follow up with one thing? So the president now, his name is Mark. President, is it Boyce?
Okay. He's the interim president now. I left when I first went on the board. A president had just left, and I was on the selection committee, and we hired the most awesome president that we had for 27 years, Dr. Paula Rooney. And she brought the college, we went from a junior college to a 4-year institution, and from a $9 million endowment to a $40 or $50 million endowment. So she did wonderful things for the school. And when she announced her retirement, that's when I said, it was time for me to leave. I wasn't leaving because she left, but we were kind of in it for the whole 27 years she was on there. So, we have to give much thanks to Dr. Rooney because she brought the school so far. The other interesting thing is the mission of the school. When I first came on, is still the mission of the school. And I talked to interim President Boyce the other day, and he assured me that we were continuing to do that. We were continuing with our original mission. And he's excited. I told him I was going to be on and that we were going to be talking about Dean, and he's very much interested in engaging the alumni to a much greater degree as we go forward. So I think you'll all be hearing more from him.
Oh, cool.
Thank you, President Boyce. You're going to see some money coming your way this year from this kid. I also want to say hello to the Dinos in the chat. And if we're not speaking with you directly, the nature of the round table is such that we're going to go in a circular pattern. And Estee's
don't know,
protesting all the time, my girl. So, but I love her. So, the nature of the round table is such that we're going to be going in a circular pattern. When we get through this formatted portion of this quickly thing about that, where we're going to speak about Dean, we're also going to reflect on Dean at the end, and in between, we're going to do the Karen Reed round table. But after that, it's going to be a free for all. A pillow fight, so hopefully Terry has some like feather pillows, so if she smacks him over the head, the feathers will go. Yeah, there you go. There she's ready.
I'm all ready.
And then we're going to engage with you guys in the chat and anything that you want to say or talk about. I see someone say Peter. If Peter Murphy's in here, I'm a freak out because that's my boy.
Yes.
Peter told me he was coming in tonight, so
okay.
Yay!
From one brother to another, I love you, Peter. All right, let's go now. Beatriz, go ahead, ma'am.
All right. So up next is Boozy Beauty. Tell me about your experience at Dean.
Okay. Well, it's not as impressive as Terry's. I'm just gonna outright say that.
None of us are. None of us are as impressive as Terry. You're in good company.
No.
That's a hard one to follow up with, DJ. I know. She's like, oh, good. Okay. So I was originally scouted for Dean for dance, because I had been in a dance program for 16 years. And dance and soccer, unfortunately, don't mesh too well. You can't do both. You can't do both because I also did soccer for 16 years. So I ended up having to drop the dance program because I couldn't do both. So, but yeah, so I did 2 years there, and then I ended up transferring out to UMass Boston. And Dean was actually, the amount of people staying on campus was the same amount of my graduating high school class. So it was really small for me. It was a bit of a culture shock to me. They always say small towns, everyone knows you. It is true. It is true. Everyone on Dean College campus knew what everyone else was doing, good and bad. So it was fun, though. It was a bit of a culture shock, but it was a good time. So, yeah.
All right, Esty, you're up next.
Whew, mine's a little long. Well, I could make it short. It doesn't have to be long. All right. So first, I just want to say Dean College basically saved my life, flat out. I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to progress my dancing career, I guess you would say. And then to know that there was like a dance program right in the same town that, I mean, here I am doxing myself, but same town that I grew up in, was amazing because my father was very sick at the time. He was actually, where's the tissues? He was actually in liver failure, and I didn't want to even go to college. I knew he was dying and very sick, and I didn't want to go to any other college. And Dean happened to be right there, and it was a blessing. I got to continue doing what I loved and studying it. The path was that I wanted to open up my own dance studio and be a dance teacher, continue doing what I love. Unfortunately, during my junior year, it goes freshman,
Sophomore.
okay, it was sophomore year, the second year. Sorry, Dean, you did teach me well. Second year, my father did pass, and along with myself, I lost my identity. I was a daddy's girl, and I didn't know how to function. But going back to Dean and being able to go on that dance floor and be around all the other dancers, my friends, it was my outlet. It was where I could, instead of being in my grief constantly, it was a way of being able to focus on my passion still, and knowing that he so very much loved and enjoyed watching me dance. Went to every dance recital. He was always the one with the flowers, making such a big deal out of it more. And being able to stick with it at Dean, and the community there that helped me through it too, because they were like, take 2 weeks off. We understand. And everybody even showed up for the wake, my father's wake and funeral. I was just like, oh my God, like this community. And for studying, I was able to even choreograph a routine dedicated to my father, which I was able to go through so many different emotions through the choreography, which it was a modern routine, which was my favorite. And just using that to express how I really did feel, because I wanted the world to know, like, hello world, my father, my number one hero in this planet, passed away. Like, who's able to do that? But I was able to do that through choreographing a piece for people to see and express it that way and get it out that way. It was an amazing tool. I mean, I can't say any more about my experience at Dean than saving my life. Because I could have been lost and went to things to self-medicate myself, but instead I had a community that lifted me up, embraced me. And then it was the same year that they said, oh, we're turning this into a 4-year program. You can get your bachelor's. And there was light at the end of the tunnel for me. It was something for me to work at and strive for it and be like, listen, I'm not lost. Yeah, he's not here. My father's not here for me anymore. But I can still have that focus that we talked about and he wanted for me. So thank you, Dean. There we go. I told you it was going to be
Thank
long.
you, Westy.
Thank you for sharing that. That's
Really.
an amazing story. Out of tragedy that, you can, were able to express yourself and had an outlet. So that's amazing. All right, DJ, why don't you tell us about your experience at Dean?
Yeah, I was just kind of trying to connect
I
with
know.
Esty and thank her for sharing that amazing story. I just Terry will know our quarterback Tony Guerra, and his mom worked at Dean, and he's a Franklin native also. Or you may remember Tony Guerra, Guerra. And so he was quarterback when I was there, and he's my quarterback. I'll put it to that way. And so I just messaged him that we're on air and that Esty was sharing, also a Franklin native, was sharing that beautiful story that everybody should hear and be inspired by, like I just was. Real quickly, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. I was a special ed kid in high school. I don't know if that was due to fights, some learning disabilities, even though I read at a 12th grade level when I was in like 4th grade. But despite that, I was designated as a learning disabled, and that followed me from middle school throughout high school, both in Florida and in New York. So the middle 2 years were in Florida. I did not do well there. I had no aspirations or dreams of what I might do, but I thank God one of the few really awesome things that my father did was tell me to come back to New York for senior year, where I was inspired by people who also had keg parties but did their schoolwork all week and got stuff done and got good grades. And so my grades went up significantly. So my guidance counselor said, I think you should apply to Dean. It's a 2-year school in Franklin, Mass. So I did. And the day I got called down to the guidance counselor's office and they said I got into Dean, I literally was like running down the hallway doing cartwheels, literally, because I didn't even think that I never thought I could go to college. So so I arrived at Dean, and my dad dropped me off there and was like, yeah, have at it, son. We'll give you $20 a week or whatever for your allowance and have fun. And when I needed to come home, I had to find a way home to New York. Like, he wasn't coming to get me at Dean or things like that. So I was inspired enough from senior year and joining wrestling that I decided I wanted to be a Dean football player. Problem was I'd never played football a down in my life, never put on a uniform, never done anything. So I went to, my roommate was also from New Rochelle, New York. He was a football player, had just finished camp, and said, yeah, they're going to have open, I hear they're going to have open tryouts. You should come out and try out. He said, did you play in high school? I said, oh yeah, I've played in high school. Sure, I did. So I went down to Coach Attaway's office, which was adjacent to the basketball gym. If you know where the basketball gym is at Dean, just to the right of that hallway going out towards the field, that's where Coach Attaway's office was. And I said, hey, he was sitting there, and I was like, should I, shouldn't I? So I knocked on the door, said, hey, Coach, I hear you're having open tryouts. Yeah, it's this day. He's like, you're kind of small. Have you played? I said, yeah. He said, do you have tapes? I said, I left them back home. Don't have any with me. So I said, well, you can come try out. So the Dean took us all for a medical, and long story short, it was a 2-week hazing. And I made, out of about 10 of us, I think 4 of us made the team as walk-ons out of about 10 of us that tried out. That changed my life, because then, classes had already started, and I seemed to be able to keep up with the work. And I wasn't the stupid kid that I thought I was, and had these great professors. And then now I made the football team. And I was like, I didn't even know how to put the equipment on. I was literally looking at other dudes in the locker room to see where these pads go and all that. I mean, it was right out of a movie. But fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, right? So I'm not going to bore you, because I'm going to have more reflections at the end of the show about Dean. But suffice it to say, it was the best 1 year of my life. I was living a dream. I'll cut to the chase. My father, I got an invitation to come back to football camp for 86, 87. My father handed me the invitation, said, you're not going back to Dean. I'm moving to Italy. See you later. You're on your own. Bye. So that was the end of the story. But while I was there, it was just the most amazing experience to be part of. All of a sudden, I'm an athlete. Like, what? I didn't even play sports other than wrestling. So now here I am as a football player and succeeding in class, something that I didn't know was possible. So everything that's come after that, I have to thank for Dean. I'll go into more detail about it later, but Dean is just I don't want to cry right now, so I'm just going to let it go for now, and I'll reflect back on it at the end. So when I cry, we're going to be ending the show. So go ahead, please, Miss Beatriz.
All right. If you can describe Dean with one word, what would it be? Terry.
Nurturing.
All right. Boozy.
My experience was a little different.
That's okay.
Maybe you can use 2 words. I'll let you use 2 words if you want.
Welcome to my world.
Literally, that's what I get for being naughty. We'll say, oh God, I'm not good on the spot. Go to SD first.
I'm not good on the spot either, but I mean, one word for Dean College. I mean, back to my story. I mean, I'll just say saving grace. Euphoria, utopia, my utopia. There you go.
All right,
Formative.
DJ.
Formative. It was a formative experience, and a lot of it, it's, when you're somebody like Boozy, where you played soccer, you were successful, she was a dancer, she was brimming with confidence leaving high school, so she may not have had, well,
oh
I
no,
mean, just based on that, just based on what you've told us, is not the same as somebody who's like, oh my God, I need an institution to save me, to make me. You know what I mean? You may not have needed that.
Oh no. I had a brother at home that was doing heroin and a functioning alcoholic for a mother. Oh no.
Oh really?
Yeah. I also needed to get out of the house. I needed somewhere to go that wasn't at home. Yeah.
And you succeeded in spite of.
Yeah.
In spite of that, yeah. Because some of us didn't get the nurturing. I always tell these kids that I meet that have a really nurturing sister, brother, mom, dad. I always say, man, that is so awesome. You know, when they say, I love my sister, or my brother's my best friend, or my mom, you know, my mom, I lost my mom like 9 years after Dean. But my dad, I'm not close with. When I see people who are close with their parents, I go, man, that is a blessing, man. You rock them. Hey, what's up, buddy? Who are we looking at?
This is Lily.
Hi, Lily. How are you, love?
Hey,
Oh, you're a beauty too, man. Were you in hair and makeup like me before the show? Wow.
Oh,
All right.
so cute.
Who is it?
All right.
Okay, bye.
Oh, yes, it is Sidebar and Grill.
Yes.
You're 100% correct, man. I would, I would not be in the position I am today if it weren't for Dean. There's just no question about that. There's no question about that.
Yep.
So
I got
there's
horrible grades in high school. I barely slid through high school.
Yep.
So, I mean, they allowed me in. I mean, thank you. But I did so well in school there compared to regular high school. I mean, I was horrible in math, but I was kicking butt in math at Dean. Like, it was, I don't know if it was the environment or the professors.
the teachers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. I got a minor in business too. Like, what? A major and a minor. Me?
I don't. This
Like,
doesn't surprise
amazing.
me at all. This doesn't surprise me at all. And Miss Jessica's at, yes, we can get you a tour of Dean. I'll be back there again. Well, January is gonna be a little soon for you to get there, but next year's homecoming, I'll be back. And any event at Dean that I'm called for, I'm gonna be there. All right, let me turn it back to Beatriz for the Karen Reed portion of this joint, and then we will return to Dean at the end of the show.
Well, if anybody, can I just say, if anybody is
Of course.
interested in doing the School of Dance, do it. Or if you have nieces, even nephews, I mean, it's an amazing program. You get your bachelor's degree at an awesome college, and it's a small community, so you won't feel like you're looked past. You'll be able to talk to your professor. And it's because there's small classroom sizes too. And I mean, just going in depth about dance more is incredible. And the faculty is amazing too. And there'll be people that you'll be able to go back to and reach out to afterwards. And if you want to continue just being a dancer yourself or open up a studio, I mean, having that small of a community to support you that way and being able to reach out to them, I mean, it's golden. I mean, where else can you get that in university? So
I hate to digress again. I'm going to just go off of what Esty just said. I don't care where you are in the country, and I've been to a number of college campuses, not only when I was at Dean. I mean, hell, we played Harvard and Brown when I was there. We played in Springfield. We played it, and I've been to a number of colleges, both while I was at Dean and after. This is what a college is supposed to look like. When you're there, you are going to feel, and not every college has an environment that can provide that for you. The aesthetic, everything about it says, I'm in college. And you see people all over the campus with Dean gear on. If you have a young person that really needs to be built up, I cannot recommend this enough to you. Someone whose grades perhaps are marginal and they're concerned about what kind of this is the place that you want to go. And everything about Franklin, the surrounding community that nurtures you. It's not only that, but like you said, the teachers. My history teacher, I still haven't forgotten stuff he said to me. And I'm here to tell you, folks, I don't hide my age. I was there in 1985, 86. Okay? So we were the Dean Demons then, to give you an idea how long ago this was. So anyway, all right. Let's get to Karen Reed.
I'm
and
Facebook
then
friends with my math teacher. Sorry to put that in there.
Oh, that is, dude, that
You go.
that is amazing.
And he remembered that I brought him in cupcakes for his birthday. I might have been brown nosing, but he was a cool teacher, so I was like, of course.
That's so
I got my
nice.
degree in history because I'm sorry, Boozy. Go ahead, ma'am. Pardon me.
No, I'm just saying that's so nice. That's all.
Yeah, I got my degree in history because of the history teacher at Dean. So anyway, all right. Like I said, I'm not crying now. I'm going to save that for the end, please, Beatrice. Let's
Yes.
get
So
angry
does
at
Boozy
Karen
want to
Reed.
come back and answer the question about
Yes.
the one word to describe Dean for you?
It was a fun learning experience. It was humbling for my my large graduating class of like almost 600 down to like 500 on campus.
It's 1,100
Didn't you
now.
just
So
love
almost
going into a class
yeah.
with other people wearing your leotard?
When I tell you, like my first semester, I tried doing dance and soccer at the same time, and like I quickly realized, like this is not going to work out, girl. You are not getting sleep. I don't know how you're supposed to get all these regular credits in, as well as do dance and then go to soccer practice. Oh, now your soccer coach wants to do 2-a-days because now he's mad at y'all for not being conditioned. No, no. I had to tap it up.
you got
fun.
you had the guts to try. So
I tried.
one love on that.
We were just known as the bunheads coming in after ballet class, like just coming in and sitting down in a class where everybody's out in their pajamas. And we're like, what have you guys been doing?
Yep.
We've been doing
Yep.
pirouettes and like tendus all morning.
Yep. Point the two harder. Last position.
All right, let's
I could
kick
talk
this
about
thing off. Let's hit it.
All right, I'll start us off with the first question. So, in regards to the Karen Reed case, what piqued your interest, Terry?
Oh, that's easy. I knew John O'Keefe. So in going for however 19, 20 months of going to standouts and everything, I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think I've met anyone else who knew John O'Keefe. Let me see. I wrote something down and that's what I'm looking for. I apologize.
Extemporaneous.
I know.
Impromptu.
Yeah.
I didn't
No,
know. I
no,
thought
I
she was
will.
going to present her topic at this time too. But if Beatrice wants to go around the table, let's make this a quick hitter, and then we'll go into what your topic is that you brought. So go ahead.
Okay, so initially I got involved because I knew John O'Keefe. I never called him JJ or Johnny like other people, but because he introduced himself to me as John. So when I think of him, I think of John. He was a young man that I met and sat with occasionally at sports events for probably 5 or 6 years. So I sat with him, a number of times. We had pizza together. We spoke. I learned from him the story of how he was taking care of his niece and nephew. He'd always greet me with a hug and how are you? Sometimes from one sports season to another, we wouldn't see each other for several months. But I felt he was a friend, not a close friend or not someone I knew for years, but I just really admired him. I admired him for what he was doing. And so his death, the violence of the death, the lack of the proper investigation, the fact that I heard almost from day one the rumors that John hadn't been hit by a car and they were framing his girlfriend. I knew that when anything was done, I was going to be part of it. So that's how and why I got involved.
Wow.
I can go more, but I'll do my rest of my stuff with my topic.
Yep. Go ahead.
That's my story of how I got involved, to answer Beatrice.
All right, Boozy, do you want to just tell us how you got involved?
Yeah, I was watching on TV right from the get-go.
Terry.
Terry is fab. I said we have Terry. But yeah, real quick, I being a local from Norfolk County, I saw the immediate news media hustle and bustle about it, and from there, it kind of snowballed because I like watching trials, so that means I like watching pre-trials, and because this was local, I knew this was going to be a big one, and I quickly learned that there's something amiss and then having people interconnected with some of the main people. Very quickly learned that this wasn't what they were trying to say what was going on. So.
Gotcha. Esty?
I've always been a fan or a listener of true crime and like podcasts and stuff. And then when I heard about what happened when it happened, you hear on the news like a girl accidentally backing up into her boyfriend, and I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. Very sad story to hear. And then I hear later on that, oh, but the people inside the house, they were all police officers, and it was a police officer that passed away. And I was like, just even hearing that, because sometimes you do hear about police brutality against each other, and then you're drinking and things can get out of hand. And I was like, oh, even before I even heard about Turtle Boy or anything, I kind of put that together in my head thinking, oh, there's other police officers, they're at a party, they're all drinking, something must have happened that went wrong out there, and then they put him out front to make it seem like. And then all of a sudden the 227 came out, and I was like, oh shit. And I was like, there's more people involved than just the police officers. And then hearing about the trial starting and that it was right down in Dedham and I had to be there. I made it down for the first day or the last day of the hearing, and then the first day of the trial. And then from there, I just watched Tom's lives and then other YouTube creators talking about it. And then from there, I was like, just hooked on, we can go on and on, but like, that's how I got involved. Just hearing it through the news and then just having a brain putting it together myself, even before hearing all the other things about butt dials and solo cups and stuff like that. Like, I didn't need like all that other stuff. It just made sense. Some police are not that great when they're drinking too. They're human, and accidents happen with other police officers. So
How about you, DJ?
I just want to say, Kimberly, is it Cogliano here? Says Terry's so proud. You look awesome. I agree with that. And now, Leanne Bravo.
She's my hairdresser.
Yay!
And she's doing a marvelous job.
She is. Your hair looks great. I'm taking hair donations, by the way, this year. Leanne Bravo from class of 2001 just texted me and just so happy about the panel. So, real quickly, we had just started. I had told Calling All Beings, you don't see my regular co-hosts here, whom I love, Nathan, Debs, and Courtney. They are very deeply involved in the UFO topic, and they cover Bigfoot we cover Bigfoot as well and some paranormal. Someone just made a super chat. I'm going to acknowledge you and thank you. Very kind person. But I had just started True Crime. We sent Courtney to Pennsylvania to look into the case of missing a woman named Shelva Rafty, a 44-year-old missing mom, missing since 2006. There were people in town that scared her out of town after she had gone around, asked questions, took photos, and the police now work in, guess where? The DA's office. They did not want to meet with her and talk about the case. There is a mob connection, and it was her boyfriend that was the last person who saw her. So at the conclusion of this investigation, we're one investigation deep in true crime, I become aware of Karen Reed, ironically through Matt Phelps. He had mentioned Turtle Boy and this woman named Karen Reed, and supposedly she backed over her boyfriend or something. So I think it was The Young Jerks is the first show that I listened to. And when I heard the details of this case, I knew something was up. I didn't buy it. It was obvious to anyone with common sense. You don't have to be from Massachusetts. You don't have to know all the players. When you hear the details of the case and you knew the fix was in and that it was another Boston cop that owned the house, that was it. I dove headfirst into this case. I did a solo podcast. My co-host did not want to cover true crime with me, really. And I said, okay, I'm going to go and cover this Karen Reed case. Nobody knows me. Nobody remembers me from Massachusetts. And I got Sean McDonough to come on. And then all of a sudden, people started to recognize me. And it snowballed from there. Mike's come on. Kim's come on. Bettero has come on. Mazza's come on. There's a girl named Beatriz that came on. So Mizzy, all kinds of people have come on. So and I just said, this is going to be, I am going to stay with this until the end. That's how I became. I'm angry, and my one of my classmates from high school she's won an Academy Award as a director. She could not, and I've said this to Beatrice, she could not write this story. Like you could not, as a writer of scripts, you could not dream this up and write this, because what would happen is studio exec would read your script and go, nah, there's no way. You're telling me all these. Okay, DJ, you've created too grand a conspiracy, bro. Nobody is going to believe this. Like, it's not believable. That's why I'm here.
This is fiction. This would be fiction.
Like, it's not possible. Judy, right. How are you, love? We're going to see you soon. You're welcome on the round table. And thank you so much for being awesome for the $20.
No.
JP, I'm sorry.
That's
we
okay.
ready to start the round table?
Sure.
All right. You can pass it to Terry first with her topic.
Okay. My topic was called Back to Basics, but Beatrice kind of tricked me a little bit and asked my question. So I'm still going to continue it, and you can answer whatever way you want, because this is what I was going to do. I want to start off by saying we here can't undo what's been said and done for the past few weeks in the movement. But I think we should go back to the basics. The reason we all joined this movement. I'd like to talk about the start and the evolution of the movement from the perspective of those who came to stand out, support physically, support emotionally, and financially, and ask how and why you got involved and what keeps you here. So that's a little twist on Beatrice, but and I'm going to start off by saying the grassroots movement started almost 2 years ago with 3 Canton citizens. Some of you probably know this. Esty, I've hugged so many times it stands out. I don't know if you remember Esty, but I used to think you were Renee, because you're both tall and blonde and beautiful. So, and I kind of mix you up sometimes, but Esty's one of the ones that I've met so many times standing out. But it started with 3 Canton citizens, very courageous Canton citizens who had heard the story, were in town, didn't know John, but knew the story and felt there was something wrong. And the 3 of them stood out for weeks, just the 3 of them on a Canton street. They were cursed at, and their families were threatened. A lot of things happened to them, but they persevered. And one by one, people started joining them. And, then others, as it went on, others from the Commonwealth, different cities got involved, in states, and then it even went international. But I just kind of like to shout out, I shouldn't say names because I'm going to miss someone, but I just have to say Carol, Kevin, Gail, Rita, Jen, Brenda, Dennis, Peter, John, Sean Colburn, Neil, to just name a few. These are the people who have been the backbone of this movement. They've been out there day after day, week after week, and this movement wouldn't be what it is without them. I'm purposely leaving out tonight the content creators. We all know who they are, and we're all extremely grateful to them. They've done an awesome job. They've, and I'll say Aiden's name. He started this. He researched, and he brought it all to the forefront. But we've talked so much about them the last 2 weeks that if I was involved tonight, I wanted to bring it in another direction to the people who are involved. I'd like to discuss the focus of the movement as a whole and the thousands of people who've contributed so many ways to this movement with little recognition. You know, we've been accused of getting paid. We've been accused of, people paying for our signs. And all you have to do is go out there once and you'll know that that's not true. You know, it's a peaceful, wonderful, welcoming group, no matter who comes. People would give their time and talent and resources to this movement. People who never knew each other. Most of the people didn't know one other person when they came. They'll just come and say, "Oh, I'm from wherever." People drive 2 hours to stand out with us, and it's been a wonderful experience. You know, we've stood out in the snow and the rain and the heat this summer, and we're not looking for anything. We just want justice. Justice for Karen, justice for John, and as it evolved, then it was Sandra Birchmore and her unborn baby, and then Enrique. I just can't tell you the kind of people I've met in this movement. They've been all ages, from all walks of life, and from all different places. And then there were the common denominators. Besides their passion and support for freedom for Karen and justice for John O'Keefe, as I got to know them, everyone had a story. And there were common denominators in the story about how they got involved. Most of them, as I told you before, never met John O'Keefe. Most of them didn't know Karen Reed. I never knew Karen Reed. I knew John, but not Karen. And as they started following the story, each person, something triggered them when they heard about the story. One of the themes I heard over and over is, that could be me. That could be my daughter. That could be my sister. And they were also inspired by Karen's courage and her determination. So, and then as you spoke to people, they're concerned about their First Amendment rights. So as the pretrial and the trial proceeded, we saw corruption coming out, incompetence, the trampling of our First Amendment rights, the misuse of power. I mean, think about the Canton Nine, Duckgate, contaminated balloons, buffer zones, unannounced visits to peaceful protesters by the Mass State Police. People are just fed up with this, and they're more determined than ever. So, this is a movement, and it's hitting a lot of people. I'm gonna just quote from a couple of the recent posts from some of the original supporters, and Esty, a quote of yours is in here. I hope you don't mind, but this is what I'm hearing from the people. Continue to keep the focus on what we set out to accomplish 19 months ago. It's time to cut out all the nonsense and get back to our roots, back to our street corners with our signs. Another one, Karen has assembled a fantastic legal team. Let them do their job. Karen needs us, and we need to remember where we came from and where we want to go. Our destination is to free Karen and get justice for Officer John O'Keefe. We're peaceful, upbeat, supportive, and devoted, and that's what we're all about. Everyone who shares the truth about Karen's innocence does just as much as the rest of us. There are people who can't be here, but they're supporting by sharing. They're standing out in Nevada and in Kentucky and different places, even if they stand alone. And one other person I think a shout out to was Denise Passaretti. Here's a woman who lives somewhere west of Boston, and every day of the week, 2 hours a day, every afternoon for a year, she stood out by herself over the Mass Turnpike and supported
Wow.
that way.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
that was her way of doing it. So people showing their support in different ways. Karen standing up for her innocence and fighting against the people and system who framed her for the murder of John O'Keefe. When we're threatened, it strengthens our resolve. We ain't got no quit. Justice for John O'Keefe, justice for Karen Reed, justice for Sandra Birchmore, justice for Enrique Delgado, and justice for all those who have had their rights violated in Canton.
Can anybody give me an amen up in this joint? Woo!
Amen.
Anybody? Amen, girlfriend.
Yeah.
I also
Go
want to
for
say
it.
thank you to Peter Murphy in the chat, because Peter is responsible for me meeting Terry. I was walking around Dean for homecoming and got that message from Terry, and I was like, oh man, this is Peter Murphy. So thank you, Peter. You're the greatest, and you got me a new friend that I didn't have. So within the space of, I don't think I met Boozy there, but in the space of 24 hours, I made, let's see, Kristen, Morgan, Beatriz, Terry, Esty, and I even met the man himself. I met the Turtle Bizzle. So anyway, all right, let me let this thing continue. So basically, what we'll be looking for now, Boozy, is if you have any commentary or Esty on what Terry just said, and if you'd like to reflect on what she said.
I mean, incredible. Can we all in chat just say what an amazing person Terry is? Like it's just amazing. Amazing.
Yep. There's one.
Yeah. Esty, we're upside down, friend. You okay?
I don't know why
Yeah.
I did that. Remember the last time I did that?
I'm telling you,
It's like it just wants to flip.
it's
Hey,
it's
Jim.
just us. And thank God we don't have John on tonight, because it would have just been a mess again.
Thank you, Amy, for becoming a member.
Yeah.
So
Thank you,
this
love.
is some of you in chat may not know me. I'm a TikToker. I'm where Nurse Kim was. I'm over on TikTok. So I come on live YouTubes occasionally. So that's why I don't think a lot of people know of me. And I am on Twitter sparingly, because Twitter freaks me out sometimes. So one thing that I've always liked to go back to on my Twitter page is going back to the locals. Because I remember seeing those first couple of select board meetings and starting seeing the fire and the fight. And I was like, oh, I got to talk about this, because this is so much more than what the media is putting out. And I want to put the faces and the names that are not being talked about, right? And that's when I start talking about the Peter Murphys and the Ritas and the Dennises. Oh my God, the people that I have been able to show the residents of Canton and not only their power, but their real stories and how this affects them, because we're not always fiery and spicy. Sometimes we're depressed and we get sad, and we have to also express that and also say, listen, this is what it's like in the county, in Canton right now. And we need to know, like, this stuff is only going to end or get better the more and more we call it out. So we have to keep calling out in order for things to change, because all of this went down for decades. This was not done just because of one case, as we all know. We're slowly starting to pick all the pieces together. It's very unfortunate that John's death was, I think, the starter of a lot of the lights underneath out of all of our asses. And I don't think they understand that the more things that these people do behind the scenes, the more of us are going to start coming out, because we're not going anywhere. So yeah, Terry, I
I don't.
appreciate you so
Thank
much.
you.
I can't keep up with the Terry love in the chat because every third message is I love Terry. Terry's the grass. War Terry. Terry Hearts. I mean, you're just like you're a superstar in this panel. Terry, do you realize that?
No, but I love them all back too. It's been a year. In all the bad things that have happened, there's a lot of good things that have come out of it. I've met wonderful people. We've become friends. I haven't met one person that I wouldn't want to spend time with.
Yeah, and this was what Peter's saying. People helping people is where life begins, and this is looking through the prism or the lens of a man who retired from 30 plus years in law enforcement, and he said, you know what, I found something I can channel my energy into, is to sort of looking after people who have been wronged by the system, and this would really take me on a path of anger, but he is not afraid to do the right thing. And there are so many law enforcement officers that are scared to say, you know what, the wrong thing happened there in Canton, and I'm going to say it. And if you want to step to me, I had this even happen in the Air Force when there was certain things that happened, and someone said to me, "Oh, hey DJ, do you?" I heard you think this or you support. And I said, yeah, that's it. I mean, you got a problem with it? Colonel? Lieutenant Colonel? I mean, I was an enlisted guy. So, but there is a certain leveling when you fly in the cockpit with people. There's no real rank, because if there was rank, you'd be afraid to say something if someone's about to crash the airplanes or do something stupid. And so, I wish there was more Peters out there. That's what we're lacking is in Peter Murphy's. But getting back to it, the love. Oh, wait, here's one. Terry's a savage. Terry, amen. Terry, amen, from Dennis, your friend Dennis. So from Judy Bestieri. So thank you. Thank you for the new members that we got. And Amy, I know you came in wondering if this is a safe space. This is a safe space. You're not going to hear any Twitter kind of garbage here. We're here to spread positivity and kind of just share in the love and of the movement. So let me turn it back over to Esty at this point. Sorry.
I'll piggyback on the Peter Murphy stuff, and I'll get sappy about it.
Please.
But how he says helping people, and I guess finding people like him brings me closer to having a father figure that I don't have. And that's why I'm like, I'm in love with him. I'm in love with Peter Murphy, Dennis Sweeney, like these men that like their passions that I share with them. And like, it's just, you just feel a sense of family, and you feel a sense of like just comfort and safety. And it's been amazing to find that through this, and that's the blessings that we have through all of this, is like that you're finding out about these people that you wouldn't normally like find or meet in your normal everyday life. Like I'm here in Boston, and what would bring me out to go to Canton or like anywhere else that they are, like and so I've found this through this movement, and then how John has passed in such a horrible way, and the way that he was treated has been looked over. But I want like him to know that he has a legacy that's still happening. Although he's not here to do what he wanted to do here on earth, he is changing something that's happening in Norfolk County. And it's a goddamn shame that it has to be that his life was taken in order for all of this to unfold. But he has, and he will from now on be known as, I don't want to say sacrifice, but because he passed, all of this has come to light. So that's his legacy, and that's something that should be cherished. And at the same time, a badass woman showing all of us other women that you don't have to lay down and take it. You can stand up and fight against it. And people that know your heart and know your truth will be there behind you. I mean, Karen Reed, she is our badass woman that is showing, like, stand up for yourself. The people that know you and the people that hear you will be there to back you up. And all of this is just fucking amazing. And nobody, no show, no somebody that's having an adult tantrum is going to ever break this movement up, because there are people that have their hearts and souls in it. And there are people that have become family that is not going to ever break up because of it. And we're just going to keep going and keep moving forward, because we know the truth and we are in it to see that truth come to fruition. And even after that, it's more's happening. We got Sandra Birchmore, we got Just En Route, we've got Enrique Delgado Garcia, you know, and then hearing about Nathaniel Brown, Tully had his dirty hands in there. It's just so much is coming to light because of this tragedy. And that's the word I want to use for John. He has a legacy now.
I mean, it'd be hard for me to really. You guys have said everything the three of you have said has been so inspiring to me, which is why why I'm here, and so everything you said just resonates with me 100%. It's why I'm here. It's why I'm flying to Massachusetts in January, and it ain't going to be the last time this year in 2025 that I'm in Massachusetts. There's going to be more trips to Massachusetts, and I will stand out with you guys as well. So, if I got the money for a plane ticket, I'm going to be there. So I want to did you have some? You look like you're going to say something. I want to respond to what Christina said here, because Christina Rasmussen is she's going to be on a future episode, but she is one of our free Karen Reed friends in Indiana, and is showing her support for you every day. I sat here with her and watched her write a whole script out to say to the Canton Select Board. I mean, and she's in Indiana, but she cares about you, and she thinks about you every day, and she's wondering how you're doing and what happened at the standout, and is there any video, and she waves and she comes in the chat. And so she wanted to know how many people are here. So I want to highlight our friends. Ken is here from the UK, from Nottingham, and Christine is here she's here from Manchester. I'm from Man U, mate, so get out my face, okay, mate? I can't be asked, can I? So we have our two Brits here. Sharon is here. I don't know if Sharon is just Irish, if she's just putting the Irish flag out, or if she's actually in Ireland. Laura's here from the UK, too. What's up, homegirl? So any of you that are here from somewhere that Alabama is in this building. What's up, Melissa? So anybody that wants to state what country or state you're from, just for our knowledge, I appreciate it. And then I'll pass it back over to the boss over there, Beatriz.
All right. So are you wanting me to ask questions, or you want me to give my 2 cents in this little round?
So what's going to happen now is it's going to go to Boozy. It'll come around to you after myself. So Boozy will give her topic, her hypothesis, or her question. Texas.
Well, I didn't want to repeat the same thing as last time. So I always love hearing ultimately like what people think happens that night, because I've heard some very interesting stories from people that aren't from here. So I would like to hear like officially what everyone thinks happened on the night of January 29th, 2022. Yeah.
Say that again, love, because I'm having to type in the chat and do this.
DJ, why can't you do 5 things at once?
I know. You should fire me right now.
I heard it.
So okay. So I'm sorry. Can you please state that again for the jury?
It's for the jury. Well, it's mainly for you, Deej. So it's just what you think happened January 29th, 2022. It's
She's
very.
getting sassy up in here.
I
You're getting
am
sassy. She's gonna do
sassy.
like a Scott McGinnis, man. We're gonna have to. All right, go. Go ahead. All right, that goes to
God.
that goes.
So
All right, so what happened on the night? Okay, I did I wish you would watch my show because I did an hour and 45 minutes nearly on this the other night, but I'll do a truncated and
Yeah,
abridged
sure.
and for the dictionary an abridged version, Terry. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Esty. This is to you, love.
Was this also our homework part?
Okay. This is the homework. Sharon. So we do have Sharon is here from. She's here from in the west of Ireland.
Ooh.
Welcome to the show, Sharon. It's a pleasure to have you here, love. I hope that one was good. I don't know. She'll either give me a thumbs up or, hey, DJ, that sucks. So anyway, go ahead. So that's to you, Esty, and then it'll go to me.
So what do I think happened that night?
What happened, love?
Fuckery.
It's a Joe Rogan word. We're not cursing on this one. No cursing.
Oh,
Oh, I mean, he went in the house and see, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if like me even like speculating is, it's what I thought from the very beginning when that news station came out, and I can't remember which one it was, but they were just like, saying that they're not sure if it was an accident, something happened inside the house, and I was like, well, yeah, they were all drinking, they were all drunk, and an accident maybe did happen, or maybe it wasn't even an accident. I mean, Higgy was so upset that he wasn't getting the girl. The girl didn't respond after he was like texting, well, he got ignored. There was let's see,
Well.
testosterone going, and then you got Brian like pumping him up, being like, yeah, and like wrestling with him, and it's just like you got testosterone and booze, and then a girl ignoring you, and then you see the guy walk in the house, and it's meatheads being meatheads. And then you had Colin being a meathead, but I'm not going to mention that because I always get called out for like mentioning a minor, but
yep.
minors can do fucked up things too. But I'm not saying that anybody did it. This is all in my opinion, but something did happen in that house, and they did put him out there in early mornings, when Lucky the plow driver saw them with the Ford Edge out there, and they left him. And there's a place in hell for them for what they did.
Oh yeah, and Julie's gonna go ahead and give me her version. So mine real quickly is although I'm the worst math student ever at Dean, I was trying to solve for X. So X was I have to figure out why Brian Albert didn't call 911 when John was injured. And because if this was just a simple accident, like if they were hunting, if they were fishing, if they were hiking and he fell and he hit his head, if they were rappelling, if they were in any rappelling, I know it's like people from Canton rappelling, but if there were any sort of situation where John O'Keefe, a fellow officer, were injured, he would have called 911, got him medical care, then he would have had to call the duty sergeant at BPD, which is a recorded line, and he would have made a report. So as he's talking, not only is it becoming a part of a verbal official record, now the duty sergeant is going to type in, okay, O'Keefe was injured. What time was this? Where did this happen? And he's typing, okay, who was involved? Yes, give me the details. So he would have been typing the whole scenario. So anything when Brian Albert called BPD to say O'Keefe is going to the hospital and won't be to work tomorrow, there would have been a whole report taken that would have become official record. So if he would have been injured, this is what Brian would have done. Even if he said, okay, Higgins and O'Keefe had a fight at the house, and it got out of hand, and O'Keefe punched Brian. Brian
you freezing
punched
again?
O'Keefe back. He fell and
It
hit his
goes-
head, and he sliced his head.
Goes on.
Okay, so that's something that can be explained away, because now we're talking about. I can mute this mic real quick. Let me. Yeah, let me. Okay, so. Okay, Terry's back in place now. I can unmute her. Okay. All right, you're back on, love. I just had to mute because there was all kinds of noise. All right. So now I have to figure out why I'm solving for X. Why didn't Brian Albert call BPD? The only reason he wouldn't have called 911 to render aid to a fellow officer, and the only reason is that there was some sort of a crime committed that he didn't think he could explain away. Because obviously, if O'Keefe was injured in an accident at Brian's house, he's going to have to call. He's going to make a report. O'Keefe's going to go to the hospital. He's going to wake up. He's going to tell a story that, hey, yeah, we got in a fight and I fell and hit my head. Okay, I'm not going to sue Brian Higgins or press charges against Higgins because I lost my footing or we fought and I got hurt. That's what happens when you agree to fight someone. Someone can get hurt, okay? So the reason I think that a felony was committed and someone whacked John on the back of the head is because now, if that happened, now O'Keefe is going to wake up and he's going to say that whatever Brian tells better be 100% accurate to the duty sergeant, or O'Keefe is going to wake up and tell a different story. And now you have Brian's lieutenant talking to John's lieutenant. Now you have the police union who can't just arbitrarily back Brian because John is also a funding member of that police union. So the Norfolk DA is going to be standing there. Unless John presses charges, he's not involved. So obviously Brian thought something was committed that he felt was criminal, which more than likely was somebody striking John on the back of the head with an object that precluded him from wanting to report it, as he would have done if they were hunting, fishing, or some other exploit like that. He would have called and rendered aid to John. He didn't because they were drunk and because someone committed some criminal felonious act that he didn't think he could explain away. Lieutenant to lieutenant and police union representatives and the whole nine, it could not be smoothed over, which is what would have happened if it was just an accident. So it wasn't an accident. Beatrice.
All right.
Well, comment.
Abridged version.
Yes.
Do you see Peter's comment? That's interesting. I've never heard that before.
I think I've heard that before.
You got it? You see it?
See what?
Peter's comment.
Comment.
She's pointing out.
Peter Murphy. Where is he?
That the DPW radio transmission to all plow operators at 0400, they reported a pedestrian struck on Fairview Road by a plow and then it was stifled.
Whoa. Whoa. I have never heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Either.
Yep. I remember that.
Some more fuckery.
So when do you guys think that effery? So when do you guys think that truncate, or self-edit? Say, yo, what is going on? Anyway, all right.
The
So
duckery. Say duckery, Esty.
Duckery, yeah. Use it. Let's. Melanie Little is the greatest content creator in this medium. We might as well use duckery. And okay, when do you guys think that body was made was put out there? Then, just as a digression here.
I mean, I feel like it would be around that time. When did Lucky see the Ford Edge out there?
Yeah. I think
If some.
Wasn't it around 3:30?
30, yeah, I think 3:30.
Yeah. So it would have had to have been around that time frame, I would think.
So somewhere around 3:30 before that report. So someone. We got to go. Peter, yeah, we're gonna have to expound upon that because I'm curious who would have made that report. But let's see, Lucky couldn't do a sec. So it was the second pass that didn't happen, Sherry D. There's so much in this case, and Blessing Moon. put out there when the Ford Edge drove John there, and the person that drove it placed John. Yeah, absolutely. You would have pulled his near dead body out of the passenger side of that Ford Edge facing the house to block the cameras from across the street. That's why I don't believe they drug him across the lawn, because it's like, I mean, this would be like a movie. You're going to sit there and drag a dude across the lawn?
Right.
So that, I mean, that's kind of absurd. Thank you, Valhalla Law, my dear. So that is 3:30 to 5 a.m. Thank you. There's so many details in this case. You need an Excel spreadsheet. Back to Beatriz, please.
So, okay. So, what do I think happened? I know what didn't happen, and he did not get hit by the Lexus SUV. So, we'll start there. So, I mean, I'll just say, in my opinion, I do, based on the evidence and everything that was presented, I do feel that he went in the house. I feel like there was some shenanigans at the bar. There was some, tough guy acts, whatever, dancing around, trying to show each other up. And I think that I do believe Karen's story that she dropped him off. She wasn't sure if she was welcome. And I do believe he went in the house. I don't think anybody in that house intentionally meant to unalive him. I think it was more of, let's fight this out. And I think things went wrong. And I think, and I also want to point out one thing that always gets missed when we talk about John and the lawn and everything else, is that if we listen to Jen McCabe's recording, she said that he was face down. We're always talking about being him faced up, and they turned him. So that's just a point that I feel like he was put face down, but then when they flipped him over, the cell phone was underneath him, which doesn't even make sense. But, but anyways, I just know that he was not hit based on ARCA, based on, the 3,074 pages of exculpatory information that they received. He just wasn't hit by the car. So that's all I need to know, and to stand behind Karen and, believe in her innocence. And, again, we all want justice for John, but it's not through Karen Reed. I mean, it will be eventually by, everything that she's going to bring to light, but she didn't do this to him. And I just think the proper people need to be held accountable.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Jim, for becoming a member. And as there's so many great comments here, literally you could put every single comment on the screen, because that's how good you guys are. Blessing Moon, thank you for being here. As Julie said, or earlier, it might have been Sherry D, if you would be kind enough, there's 444 of you watching. If you would be kind enough to hit the like button and the subscribe button, that would be awesome if you like the content. And if you don't like me, at least you like these four. And I mean, that right there. And thank you for becoming a member. So, all right, and let's get back at it. Now we're going to Este's comment. Great job, Beatriz, man. You broke it down like the bright homie that you is. They didn't teach me that at Dean, by the way, Terry, that sort of dialogue. Anyway, what's your topic, question, or hypothesis?
All right, it's just going to come off the top of my head because I didn't do my homework.
Terry, 10 demerits for Gryffindor right now. Sorry. I'm kidding. We love you, Esty. You know that, right?
You really
with all the work you're doing, we love you.
Like, it's not dreams about being at Dean. It's like being back in school and then having to do school again. I have nightmares.
It's all
I'm
good,
like,
girlfriend.
I have to graduate. I just need to graduate. And
you have graduated, and I tell you on Twitter, you've inspired everybody that's on this panel. Going and setting up and doing solo standouts and dancing. Dude, I'm looking forward to breaking bread with you, homie. Can
I tell my story instead of doing my homework about last night?
Yes, you can. Yes,
okay,
you can.
Cool. There we go.
Yes, ma'am.
There we go. You get cupcakes, teacher. Thank you. So last night I went to Whitney Cummings, the comedian. Have you heard of her?
Yeah, she's on Joe Rogan's Just want to.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
saw her at the Wilbur here in Boston, and I was wearing my free Karen Reed cap. And I was fortunate to have front row tickets. And at the very end, she was like doing her goodbyes to everybody, and she saw my cap, and she goes, "Yeah, free Karen Reed!" And the whole venue just lit up and was just like, "Yeah!" And I was like, she knows free Karen Reed and she support what? And I was like, oh my God, I hope someone caught that. But then like I busted out to her and was just like, can you please say something to Karen? Like, can I videotape you? And she was like, yeah. And so I got a videotape of her shouting out free Karen Reed, badass. And it was just, the moment was just amazing. Yeah. So I was like, because there's was word of people being on X that were doing cameos, like they were paying certain celebrities to say stuff about how awful we were to the family and the witnesses and such. So it was nice to just hear from somebody that has a platform, such as a comedian, that knows what's going on and
Is talking about it.
Is talking about it, supports Karen. So it was awesome. So that's my story.
I'm gonna just follow with one of my own that Beatrice has heard. So I've been doing a lot of. I work at one base, one Space Force base. I go to another where the gym is and the swimming and all that neat stuff. So I go over there to swim, and I'm on the phone with our friend John Como, who's friends with everybody on this panel, and I've got my earbuds on so nobody can hear what we're talking about. And I get changed, and I'm like, oh, man, I got to grab my water out in the car. So I go out there, and this guy walks by me, and gentleman probably like a decade older than me. And he goes, yeah, you tell those Karen Reed folks there that in Colorado, we support her. Okay. Aww. And I was like, rock on, brother. And he was saying stuff, and John was going crazy and telling me to tell him stuff. And I was like, hey, brother, because I know he probably swims there all the time like me. So I was like, I'll see you and we'll have a dialogue. And he's from Massachusetts. He's from Boston. So him hearing a little bit of dialogue where I did not mention her name, he knew I was talking about Karen Reed. So you guys are everywhere. That's
awesome.
All right. Beatriz, if you would like to, if there's any reaction, and if not, I'll give my topic.
No, go ahead. Give your topic.
Okay, so this is going to go to you, and then it's going to go to Terry, Boozy Beauty, and Esty. Okay. If we're at 34 Fairview. It is the morning of the 29th of January, 2222. And we don't see a cracked tail light. So now when she leaves the house at 5 something in the morning to go look for him, she doesn't hit John's vehicle with her car, doesn't crack the tail light, which doesn't give the quarterback of the team, Jen McCabe, that narrative to spoon feed to Bukaki, who thinks that it's a domestic because stupid Brian Albert brings the cocktail glass from the waterfall out there and goes, this'll do right here, and takes the shoe off and all that like a friggin' moron. So my question to you, firstly, Beatrice, is what would have happened in this case had she not cracked the taillight and given them that storyline that became the narrative that the faux justice warriors on the other side are using as an excuse for how he was found nearly unalived on the lawn?
I don't think she would have been the fall person.
You think it turns right there? That's the pivot point?
I mean, you have now I'm going to forget names, but those people that were in that truck, the Julie Nagel's brother, who was supposedly coming to pick her up. I mean, I don't think she would have been the fall person for this, in my opinion.
Wow. Terry Robbins.
I don't even have anything to say about that. I can't even wrap my head around that scenario because we've heard all of the other things before. So I'm not good at thinking about something like that. I can't answer that one.
See, this is why I wanted to see what would happen if we just shifted the script. They don't have the tail light to lean on. So go ahead, Beatrice. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call on Terry. This is your game. So
No, wait, isn't it Boozy?
it
has
is, but
something?
I didn't want to. I didn't want to pass it because you're the moderator. So
Yeah.
Oh,
What,
okay. I'm sorry.
what Vala said is basically is basically what they would do, is what I'm thinking, is they would just blame it on Lucky, the plow driver. They even did it with the DPW when they called it in. Like, that's how they were going to do it. They were going to call that in and say that somebody was hit by a plow, and then that's how they would say that he ended up there. And then Lucky would say, and god damn, I don't even want to think about that though, because yep, nope, sorry, I don't even want to voice things, but yeah, he would be locked up right now.
yeah, and Valhalla Law, our retired lawyer, she says the same thing, that she thinks that they would have put it on that they we're pretty close to. We're pretty close to 7,000. I think we're at just under 6,600. So we might, who knows? We might get close tonight.
Can I
yes, ma'am.
can I
Yes,
go
ma'am.
because I said I didn't, but I think that the original. So I thought you were switching things around, but I agree with Beatrice. But what I think is that the plan all along was to blame Lucky.
Yeah.
I don't think that Karen was quite in their sights at that point. I think the plan was to blame Lucky until the morning when Karen called Jen, and I think that's when the plan switched. So I don't know about the taillight and all that stuff, but I mean, I do know about the taillight, but your hypothesis there. But I think that the original plan was to blame Lucky.
Yeah.
And they figured he'd take a plea deal and maybe get, a couple of years or 6 months or whatever, or they'd cover it over somehow and say it was an accident in his job. And I think that was their original plan.
Yep.
Would anybody like to react to what Kevin C is saying on screen here?
I don't think anything surprises us, does it?
Yeah, 'cause I
No.
was also hearing that Brian Albert was meeting with the animal control officer.
He is. He just met with them again yesterday.
Why? You live in Norwood. You're retired.
Things that make you go,
If you didn't do
I
it,
love
why
it.
would you be meeting with them? Unless was it a male or a female he was meeting with?
Female.
Female.
Terry knows.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Melanie Little just made it here, and I just want to say LIT is in here, and I love that song. If You Steal My Sunshine, I don't know if you guys remember that one. It's an old school one.
Melanie,
If you steal my sunshine, by the brother and sister. Sorry. All right. Everything's relates back to music with me. So yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know what evidence they would have had to pin it on Lucky. Is potentially it's there. First of all, it wouldn't have even been. I don't even know if they could have pinned manslaughter on him. But they would have had to try then get DNA on the plow or something absolutely absurd. I think Jennifer McCabe, her cracking the taillight, and Jennifer McCabe, the quarterback, or Jen McCabe as I like to call her, I think she bailed them out because they were a crime without a perpetrator. And because they refused to knock on Brian's door, which ended the investigation 2 minutes after the investigation began, they were a crime without a perpetrator or even a suspect, and Jennifer bailed him out. And they probably love her and are indebted to her, which is why Bacon Butt Meatball takes her text in the middle of the night. We love Melanie as well, Nikki. We really do. She's incredible. I'm sorry. I digressed. So I think that's the last roundtable topic, Beatrice. It can be just an absolute pillow fight free-for-all now.
I don't
Poor
think
Lucky.
Susie got to go. Wait a minute. I don't, no person left behind here. She didn't get to answer. I was
Well,
paying
like,
attention.
poor Lucky, like he would lose his shit if he like hit an animal. Remember that part when he was on the stand and he was like, God forbid if I hit an animal. It was like, so that's why, like, oh, okay. Sorry, go ahead, Boozy. Love you, Lucky, wherever you
We
are.
love you, Lucky.
I always say Lucky's a peach. From people that I've talked to from Canton that know him, he's just a nice, genuine guy. You can tell that when he's on the stand, he's just a nice, honest, genuine person. He was there to be a good witness, like you're supposed to do when you do court. You're not supposed to have all these different shenanigans going on. You're there to tell the truth, and that's it. None of this what. But I love this question because there are a few reasons why I think they shifted from Lucky. Obviously, he's a Cantonite. He's a Canton homie, and he's not necessarily close to any of them. But he does have a little bit of protection because his last name is Loughran. And who else is a Loughran? Mike Loughran, Canton Select Board. So. Yep. My opinion is kind of like what Alan Jackson has said over and over in court is pin it on the girl. Why do you want to pin it on the girl? Because it's easy.
Yeah.
So I think they would have found a way, any which way, to put it on her because they were not going to put it on Lucky because once they found out it was Lucky that was a plow driver, can't do it. Can't do it. He has protection. Right. Karen was the outlier. So wasn't John. I think they would have found some way.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Yep.
That's okay.
I just want to, because Valhalla Law is here, she is the official attorney of Calling All Beings, and she says that the first thing she says is they didn't need evidence. They could have strong-armed Lucky to plea. So they would have, what she's saying is they would have used the same ploy that they tried on Karen Reed and she didn't fall for. They would have been successful with Lucky. And then down here, hero, Dennis is saying that Lucky's a hero, and I agree with you, Dennis. Yes. And then Valhalla Law is saying, I disagree about Jen. She messed up. She messed it all up. Much easier to railroad Lucky. So, yeah, you know what? From a point of view, 100% you're right. But when something is, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Someone gives you a horse. I go, you know what? I love horses. I'm going to take a horse. I'm not going to look and check his teeth. And in this case, the cracked tail light and Karen's acknowledgement thereof provided what Jen needed. And she would have had to extrapolate and perhaps not even thought of Lucky as a culprit, whereas the police would have thought of Lucky. The fact that they were plowing, I mean, obviously she was up all night, so her brain processes would not be working at peak performance when you don't have any sleep and you were drinking, then you're awake. Now you know that someone was just killed. Now you're walking around your house, and then the next day you're expected to concoct a theory, and more than likely this was unfortunately and sadly, Karen gave her that out with the cracked tail light. And without that, they would probably, somebody else would have had to have fingered Lucky. It would have had to have been law enforcement. So anyway, back to Beatrice.
I do think Jen messed up though too by going that way. Because she seems to have the personality where she wants to take control.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So since this was her go-to and what she thought would work, now she's like strong about it and making sure that it goes right. And she's taking charge. She's doing the powwows. She's making the phone calls. She's making sure everyone's going on track. She's the one that's reaching out to Aiden's ex-girlfriends or fling, to make sure that she's on board to get him into jail. And like, she's just all hands on deck with everything because she's the one that made that decision of let's blame it on Karen. But did you think that, I'm not going to use a phrase that I heard recently, but
Jen Macabre? Sorry.
well, no, you couldn't outsmart Karen. Sorry, you couldn't.
Yeah, all right. Right. Yeah. No, she couldn't. She clearly couldn't.
Nope. You messed with the wrong bee.
All right. Was that Chris Albert that said tell him he never went in the house?
Yes.
No. Oh,
No, it's Matt McCabe.
no. It was Matt
McCabe?
McCabe
Oh,
Okay.
he said that to Chris, right?
in the group text.
In the group text, yeah.
Tell him the guy never went in the house. Yeah.
Tell him the
Hi,
guy.
Phoebe.
Jen
Welcome.
with the 911 call. There's a guy passed out. A guy. But yet he's your best friend. Like,
Oh,
make it
there's a
friend.
man on the. Can I do my Jen McCabe?
Do
There's
it.
a man on the lawn at 34 Fairview. The Alberts home. It's like, oh, the world famous Alberts. They're known in Mumbai. They're just so incredible. What a family.
Sorry,
But
my
yeah,
friend,
there's a
my
man.
friend Officer John O'Keefe. He is on the front lawn of my brother-in-law's house, who's also a police officer. You need to get all units down here right now. He is a police officer.
My friend, who I loved.
With all my heart. With all my heart.
With all my heart.
You don't have a heart, obviously.
You're
With all
She
your
doesn't.
heart.
She's the
You
Tin
work
Man.
harder.
Honestly, like I just, if I only had a brain.
Oh my God. I didn't think we were going to have any Wizard of Oz here. This is awesome, man.
Wicked
You
movie
guys.
came out. It's a good one.
All right. If you have a question in the chat, please put it in all caps and we will get this esteemed. And when I say esteemed, I want you to think broccoli. We'll get this esteemed panel to answer whatever you have here. Look at this. Ask Bob says Esty is Miss Universe. I don't think you're getting
Waiting
an
for my
argument.
crown.
XOXO. We'll do our Melanie Little impression here when he reads a David Yannetti letter. XOXO. Mike Morrissey. So.
Oh God. Can I just say that clip of Esty outside of the office in Canton, and when she screamed "Duck, yeah!" Oh, it just made my soul.
I had a day, and we're in front of his office, and if he was in front of us, yeah, the words I would have.
Girl, I get
I
it.
would step
Been
out
there.
of my comfort and
Oh my God. Oh, okay, we have some questions here. All right, this one is from Rachel. So let's take this one around. Starting with Beatriz.
question for who? What?
So we're gonna go around. So which McAlbert is the most embarrassing? I know. Julie, when she said Bukaki on the stand.
Ah! That was awesome. And
That
Aiden
was
in
awesome.
the courtroom, and Aiden
Yeah.
had to compose himself like he just
Yeah.
imagined. Oh God.
All right. Terry, you're next. What do you think?
Probably Jen McCabe when she was in shock and horror.
It's a good one.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna go with Jill Daniels and the Falmouth shipwrecked, the throwing the pizza on lawns, the taking Aiden's cell phone of it all. Jill Daniels.
All right, Esty.
It's easy for me. It's just Chris Albert. I mean,
Yeah.
Especially since my own father was a selectman,
Yeah.
and a school committee member. Like, he would never act the way that Chris does. Never. And raising his boys to be that way too. Like, You're raising your kids to flip off people and talk to other adults that way. No wonder they got themselves in this shit. God damn it. No wonder they got themselves in this trouble.
Yeah.
Like, look who you've raised. It's what you do with yourself too. So, even though he says he was not in the house,
I question that.
Yeah.
I question that every day.
yeah, he also had a DUI. I mean, and hit a man and took his life, and that's very unfortunate.
Mhm.
But has he, I don't know, started a foundation for any causes to make up for it? Has he, I don't know, paid his respects to the family that he took the life from? If he can show me those things, like, great, more power to you. But if you have just like continued on your life and not made amends anyway, or started any type of like just foundation or something in that man's honor, because you did take his life. So yeah, he's an embarrassment. Like, do better, be better, take yourself off as a selectman, and start talking.
No shame in his game, huh? All right. What about you,
He
DJ?
doesn't pay taxes.
I mean,
Someone say he doesn't
for
pay
me,
taxes.
like-
What the fuck? I mean, what the
What the duck?
What the duck?
What
Duck.
Wait, let me get this. I got this from Suzanne Cleveland via a Richie, and it says, if you know, you know, like, so me and I think Beatriz and I have matching ducks.
Yay, those
So yeah, for me, my biggest question about Chris Albert is whether or not he uses 00 flour in his pizza concoction there. So I would have greater respect for him if he used 00 flour, but I suspect he's probably using like all-purpose flour. So that would be my biggest question: is what type of flour and what's the quality of the pizza there at D&E Pizza?
important.
Can anybody? Isn't that what all of you are thinking? All of you are thinking the same thing, right?
Well,
probably
no,
not.
didn't he recently have inspection problems anyways?
He brought,
He did.
he brought out the dollar bills. Is like, I'm gonna pay off the inspector. Hand him 100 in that handshake when he comes to the door. No, my
I know.
most embarrassing.
Okay, I know this chat is safe. No one in this chat is gonna order from D&E Pizza. I recognize that. But for anyone that ever hears this, they don't wear gloves when they're making the pizza, people. When they're making the salads. That's the reason why they got in trouble, between cleaning problems, mold in their cheese, and not wearing gloves. This is all public record, by the way, for entertainment purposes only.
I love the Boozy Beauty. You guys are making this show, man. You guys are just, you guys have absolutely killed the show. From Terry, SD, Boozy, and of course, my homegirl up there at the top, Beatriz. So, no, all kidding aside, my most embarrassing McAlbert, it either vacillates between Colin trying to pretend like he went to some exclusive prep school with that outfit that you never would see on this kid in his life, when he looks like he's some sort of a gangster rap wannabe. And then the other one would be Sam Nagel, who has made himself virtually undateable in 3 counties by going up and physically touching Meredith with a group of people behind him, something that he in this lifetime he never would have done if he were alone with Turtle Boy and there were no cameras. So, but I guess I'll give the edge. I'll give it to Sam Nagel, the coward, is the most embarrassing McAlbert. We also have this one right here. I've got this one, this question right here, starting with Beatrice, please.
I know, that's
I think because between the Commonwealth and, the arrogance of this DA's office, I think there will be, but hoping and praying that there isn't, because the FBI saves everything.
Miss Terry Robbins.
I think there will be another trial, but I'm hoping that the Supreme Court decision comes out and at least throws out the 2 charges. I haven't been following everything, but I don't think that's been ruled on yet. So
Correct.
Correct. So, you know, I think Judge Beverly's pushing for that January date, and I don't understand her to start off with, but I don't understand how, when both sides are requesting a postponement until April, that she could possibly insist that they do it in January.
Right.
So I think there will be another trial, but I'm hoping not.
Boozy.
I mean, I was one from the get-go saying that they will have a second trial, but they'll push it out. I wouldn't be surprised because technically it's unconstitutional, especially if both sides want to do it. They're going to push it out. I wouldn't be surprised if they push it out again and we see potentially probably another summer trial. And again, more time just means it's more time for the defense, and time is on the defense's side, not the prosecution's.
Cue the Rolling Stones. That's a great song.
Yep.
Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Go ahead, Boozy. Go ahead, Esty. Is there going to be another trial?
Yeah, I think that they're going to try to, but
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that, yeah, the feds come in, because if it is pushed to April, that gives them more time to do what they need to be doing, collecting more evidence, getting more. I mean, especially with the civil trial going on, with the civil, doesn't that mean that the O'Keefe family, they need to start giving testimony in order to start?
Depositions.
That's
Yeah,
going to get pushed back. Yeah.
even
The depositions will go on. Yeah,
Yeah.
for civil.
will be going on, and then they can pull from that, can't they?
Yep.
So that we have on our side too. And then also, I believe the FBI could probably pull from that as well if it's records. So great. Depot them all, more information to be able to. So yes, I mean, the April date being pushed would definitely help with that. And hopefully by the time April comes along, or at end of March, that it can be interrupted, so that doesn't need to. And then Karen can start bringing back in money for herself. I mean, $5 million she's in debt, and now she's having to pay for the second trial. But with all this depots happening, thank you for suing her in civil court. It's working in her favor.
Yep.
So we'll just have more evidence with the time being pushed. So I do believe that they will try to. Hopefully we'll hear back from the Supreme Court Justice about those two charges being dropped, because she was acquitted by them, but we had a foreperson who knows, I believe he was corrupt, being a Mr. Bossy Pants in there. So yeah, more time, more information.
And we have more questions in the chat, but I think it's about time to wrap it up. So I think we ought to have this one right here from Ken, who's all the way from Nottingham. I think we can all agree that, yeah, someone said walking my dog and saw John Gwynn. Do you think they would have found ring? And yeah, the problem is that they didn't ask the investigating officers did not ask for ring camera video. And I guess whomever spoke with Tom Kelleher, the then lieutenant across the street and now deputy chief, said, "Oh, I didn't have any." He has three ring camera videos, 3 ring cameras on his house. And then Turtle Boy spoke with the adjacent neighbors, and everybody said, "I don't have anything." And that's probably because they thought Brian Albert would come and like slit their throat in the middle of their sleep. So I have no idea, but it's just more, again, a screenwriter, would be like, nah, there's just no way. There's no way that, but this is what happened. So yeah. I think we should wrap up, Beatriz, with Dean reflections, our final reflections about Dean. And I'm going to apologize to you guys, but I don't want to keep these wonderful ladies and our wonderful hosts more than 2 hours. Otherwise, Beatriz won't want to come on anymore.
Not true.
So I would love to get to everything. Thank you, Reality Check. Yes, hell yeah. She's saying, "Are you proud of us kids?"
Absolutely, 100%.
Thank
It's
you.
been a wonderful program, and I'm proud that you're all Dean alums.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, go ahead, Beatrice, take it away, my friend.
All right. So I'm going to throw it over to Terry, right?
Yes.
All right, Terry.
Reflections, final
Reflection.
reflections.
Um, I guess from what you told me before, I'm doing mine as a favorite memory. Of the time on the board. If I think of one theme that goes through, my favorite time every single year was commencement. It was the absolute. It still is the absolute best day that I can remember. To see the bagpipes and processing across the street and down Oppie Way, and the proud looks on the families, and how happy the students are. And a little secret I probably shouldn't be telling, but a funny little thing is, as trustees, we sit on the podium there, and everyone is in front of us in the audience, and the students process up and get their diplomas. And after the first year, I said to one of my fellow trustees, "Did you see the shoes those girls were wearing?" and
That's
and after that, it became a thing, like, to look at it, and then it was just the men and the women's shoes. They came in just such a variety of shoes, and it just became a thing that we looked at. But and Jim Beauregard's song at the end of, I'm sure you ladies knew Jim Beauregard through the theater program, and he had the anthem, the Dean anthem that he'd always sing at the end. So it was just always the best day of the year, and I'll always have fond memories of that.
Wonderful.
All right, Boozy.
I feel like when we go to college, that's usually a time of funding ourselves, right? And I feel like going from a 180 to a very large graduating class to something very small, I definitely learned way more about myself than I ever feel like I ever would have. And kind of like what SD touched upon, me going to a place like UMass Amherst when there's 50 to 100 students in a classroom, I would have gotten lost, and I would have been paying all this money for an education that I would have done nothing with. So I'm very grateful that even though it was small, that I did get the deserving attention that I needed, even with 30 to 40 other bodies in the classroom. It was an interesting time in my life. It was also a very traumatic time in my life, and not because of Dean, but because of what was going on in my life. But I learned some very valuable lessons and some really amazing people from all walks of life. I feel like Dean's not really, spoken about too much. It's kind of, off the beaten path in a random town in Massachusetts. It's not in Boston. It's not in Rhode Island. It's not Providence. So it's kind of like it's in the middle. And the people that go there are quite eclectic. And if there's anyone thinking or has kids that are eventually going to be thinking about going to college, and you want them to go somewhere that you feel like they got to be safe, where they're going to be looked upon and also really cared about, I would highly recommend Dean, just because it is a small community. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, SD, you're up next.
And that's my word for Dean, is that my reflection is community. Because you can be on your own and wandering and not knowing where you fit in and not knowing if people will accept you for you. But at Dean, it was there through the compassion and empathy that I noticed that, and because it wasn't apparent right away. I mean, you're so caught up in your studies and stuff, but when I was at my lowest, they were there to lift me up. And I'm seeing that now. This is my reflection of at Dean. I'm seeing it now in this movement. Some people are at their lowest if they're having a hard day just in their own personal lives. this community is there to listen and to be there for you. I mean, there was a supporter, Renee, who, Terry, you said that you thought it was Renee. She was having a difficult time with family issues. And these supporters, Karen Reed supporters, showed up for her. They went to a court hearing for her, and I don't want to get too personal about it, but they went there to show their support, because this is the community now of people that are there for you, not just at the courthouse, but there for you in your own life if needed. And that is just something to cherish. You don't see that every day. You don't see that when you're going in to do your 9-to-5 job. Those are just your coworkers. I mean, and you'll go out and have a beer with them, and then that's it. But this is more. This is more than that. And it's a beautiful thing. And I wish everybody would be able to experience it. Because just like going into Dean, you don't know what to expect. You don't know if you'll be accepted. You come into the Karen Reed movement, you don't know if you'll be accepted. You don't know what to expect. But guess what? No matter what you've done in your life, in your past, we're not going to judge you on that. If you're showing your heart and you're leading with your heart and you're a kind person and you have seen what Karen Reed is going through, you're going to be accepted. You're going to be loved. You're going to be hugged. And I'm going to cry, but this is the truth. And it's amazing when you find a community like this, and it should be cherished, and always just bring it on back. When there's noise, when there's ugly, bring it on back to what is really important. I love you all.
Thank you so much. I'm just so delighted to have become friends with you. And you just inspire me all the time. And you're probably sick of hearing that by now.
No.
But yeah. There is if you want to get in touch with Dean College, thank you, Julie, and all our chat moderators. But thank you, Julie. She always knows. Julie, we say that everything. She's so much smarter than I am.
They have night classes too. They have night classes for adults.
And online.
Yeah. Yep.
I know. So we got to get to. I'm going to get to gifts and all that, but I want to get this done and get you guys out of here. So my reflections. I can remember pulling up. Back then, you could drive right up to the front of Dean Hall to get dropped off, and my father pulled up around that driveway and dropped me off. And I remember hearing "Money for Nothing" from Dire Straits. Pumping, because people would have their speakers pumping out onto the front lawn of Dean Hall. And Terry looks like that's resonating with her. So I remember hearing "Play Deep" from Outfield, which was a very popular song. And I encourage my two fellow alums here that are just below me to look up those songs. Play the Outfield. Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk it over. So I don't know if you remember so many things that I want to say. So that song and "Money for Nothing" was playing there. Mr. Williams apparently is here from Dean College and says that the 5th floor is now a weight room because Leanne is out there asking, because she got really creeped out when her and one of the school resource officers went up to the 5th floor. And she said, I felt like it was haunted. I got really creeped out. So yeah, Outfield. Yes. So, though I remember that. I remember just being like, oh, first of all, my name at Dean College was not DJ. That was an Air Force nickname. My middle name is the letter J, and my name tag would say DJ, San Marco. So I was Dave at first, and then my nickname in football was Kazoo. And I literally remember walking from Adams Hall back down to the main campus and having a couple girls walk by, and they walk by me, and I'm not really paying attention. I'm looking ahead, and they go, "Hey, Kazoo." And I was just like, I'm a 3rd string scrub on the football team, like special teams player, not like, starter or star, right? But they knew who I was. And so I remember that. I remember Hurricane Gloria happened. And I left. We were all supposed to be in the gym. If you didn't have, your parents didn't come get you and you didn't have a car, you went to the gym. They brought basically box lunches or bag lunches, and you rode out the storm in the basketball gym. Well, I decided that I was not comfortable in the basketball gym, so I stole my way into Dean Hall again somehow and went back to my room and made a bed in the closet because I thought that would be safer. I just emptied the stuff out of the closet, put blankets and pillows in there, and I rode out the storm in my own closet. I remember just that I would walk across campus and go, "Good night, Kelly, and thank you so much for modding tonight, love." Kelly's also from Mass. And I just remember going, like many times, man, I'm living the college dream. So I often say the best 3 years of my life was in England. The best 1 year of my life was at Dean because I only went there 1 year. And it remains the most significant 1 year that told me that all of a sudden, going from someone who had no idea where he was going, like at the beginning of senior year of high school, I had no idea what I was going to be doing at the end when we graduated in June. And then by whenever I got accepted to Dean, it might have been like January, February, March. I can't remember what month that would have happened. And then going there and finding out I could pass class, and professors were I was inspired by that, and the football guys, and all of a sudden I'm a college student. Oh my God. Like, there was nothing I wanted to do in the world after that summer than go back to Dean. So that's a testament to Dean. I remember, working in the weight room. That was my job at Dean, was to work in the weight room second semester. And I was lifting and running. And when spring practice came around, I was just blazing around that place. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Took care of mechanical. Hey, man.
Cool.
Thank you very much, brother. We love you, and thank you for taking care of Dean. And thank you for showing up tonight as well, sir. I would not have different things I've done, going, getting my pilot's license, going in the Air Force, and going and trying out for things that I thought would have thought were beyond my capability mentally, that I couldn't have passed academically. The things that I went for, none of those things would have occurred, and I would not be here with a resume to speak of were it not for Dean. Dean is what made that happen, and the confidence of my teammates and my schoolmates at Dean, and people wanting to be my friend. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. It was just, I really can't, I promise that if I do go back to Dean, and I will have something prepared and speak, but right now I'm feeling emotional about it, and it's difficult. But thank you, Dean College, for everything you've done to me. Though my degree may say Southern New Hampshire, you will never see me go up to that campus, but you will see me at Dean every year.
Nice.
Thank you, loves. Beatriz, you ready to close, my love?
Sure. I'll pass it back to you.
All right. So what we're gonna do is, all right. We've gone 2 hours here. So I just want to recognize some people in the chat, and then we're all going to get out of here as a group. GP Dog Drool is in the joint. Thank you very much for 20 memberships. I cannot believe this. Dennis, thank you, brother man. Yes, all-star cast. And I want to say that the reason that this thing is great tonight, because you guys, a lot of you have seen Calling All Beings, is because of these four ladies right here, not me. It's what these guys brought, the energy, the positivity, their life experience, what happened to them at Dean. Terry just absolutely dominated the beginning. It was just like every second thing, every second message in there was about Terry, and rightly so. She's our leader in this joint. Thank you, Side Ba and Grill, for you've gifted like 20 memberships. Leanne, I think you heard it's a weight room now, but if Terry can get us in there, I should see you in January, Leanne, and if I don't, I'll see you on later on this year, and definitely at homecoming. And Terry can, hopefully, she can pull some strings. That's all I can say. Thank you very much, K Jen. K is silent, McCabe. Reality check. Amy, thank you, love, for becoming a new member. Judy, thank you so much for being extremely generous. And yeah, somebody's in here. Jonathan is going to ask if you know Peggy, and I don't think we want to go there. I don't know if you know Peggy or not. She doesn't.
I do, but I don't want to go there. I do know
Yeah,
her, but
we don't want to go there. Yeah,
no.
we don't want to put any kind of drama on this family. So with that, if you guys last chance for your thumbs don't be an ungrateful lurker. She's so funny, Julie. You guys would all love Julie if you knew her. She's incredible. And somebody else, okay. And now what I'd like to do is if we could get a quick round of applause for the host of the joint tonight, who is such a natural that I'm feeling her YouTube channel coming, but if not, she's going to be welcome here. And that is my home girl, Beatriz.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, love. Appreciate you. I can't stop using the word love because I just love the chat. I love you guys. It's just
all love.
it's
I love everybody.
yeah, it just comes out of my mouth. I just and that's it. And sealed off for cell tower equipment. That is great. So we're not going to get any ghost stories out of the 5th floor, unfortunately. Oh yeah, that's what's up right there. And yeah, so Beatrice getting all kinds of love right about now.
You.
Right about now, Funk Soul Brother. All right. There you go. The dancers been getting into it. You see that? They haven't forgot.
Oh, never.
Thank you, loves. I have big ups for my homies right there. I look forward to seeing you guys here we're at about a little over a month and a half now. We'll see you back there in Massachusetts, Boozy Beauty and Esty. And we're also going to see Terry for a meal of food.
We are.
All right. And if you need somebody to come get you, I'll come down to Franklin and get you. All right, homegirl?
Okay. It's a
All
deal.
Right. All right, flight attendants, prepare for landing. Please put your seat backs and tray tables in their upright and locked position. On behalf of the dean of this group right here, Terry, and Boozy Beauty and Esty, and of course Beatriz, this is DJ saying peace out, one love. We'll see you down the road. And as always, we're wondering what's up around the bend.